Let's begin Chapter 2, Lesson 3. Write two-step equations. We've already talked about how to translate words into math. And in fact, I think we've provided you with a sheet that you put in your math journal that will help you to translate those. Let's take a look at the real world link. It says, you want to attend a 2-week robotic day camp that costs $700. Your parents will pay the deposit of $400 if you pay the rest in weekly payments of $15. Use the questions below to help you find the number of weeks you will need to make payments. Number 1, complete the table below. How much is paid after 2, 3, and 4 weeks? So at 0 weeks, we have 400 plus 15 times 0 equals 400. So your parents paid the 400. You've made 0 payments, so the total amount paid is 400. After 1 payment, your parents paid 400 plus 15 times 1 payment of 15 equals 415. After 2 weeks, you've paid 15 times 2, which is 30, plus 400, so 430. After 3 weeks, 400 plus 15 times 3. 15 times 3 is 45, plus 400 is 445. After 4 weeks, you have 400 plus 15 times 4. 15 times 4 is 60. 400 plus 60 is 460. So after 2 weeks, you've paid $430. After 3 weeks, $445. After 4 weeks, $460. And since you owe a total of $700, you can see that using a table would take you a while to get to the amount that you needed to pay. So because it will take a long time to solve the problem with a table, let's write and solve an equation to find the number of payments, P, that you will need to make. So let's take a look back up at the problem. As we've discussed, we always read the problem once, and then we go back and analyze it. And so we've already read it. Let's go back and analyze it. First of all, we know that the camp costs a total of $700. We know the parents are paying a deposit of $400, and we're going to pay the rest in weekly payments of $15. What we don't know is the number of weeks, so that's going to be our variable. So let's let X equal the number of weeks. Okay, so we let X equal the number of weeks, and we know that we've paid $400 as a deposit plus, and actually we should say P because it gave us that, so I apologize for that. It gave us the variable to use. Since it did, let's use P. 400 plus 15 times P equals 700. So $400 as a down payment, $15 per week equals 700. Let's go up here and work that problem out. So we have 400 plus, I shouldn't say equals, 15P equals 700. In order to solve this, we know that we need to get this by itself, so we're going to subtract 400 from both sides. That leaves us with 15P equals 300. And then we'll divide both sides by 15. And P equals 300 divided by 15. If you need to show your work, you can, but I know that 30 divided by 15 is 2. And I have a 0 left over here. So it looks like it's going to take us 20 weeks to pay the total amount we need for camp. So how many payments will we make? We'll make 20 payments. Suppose you received $75 in birthday money that you want to use towards the camp. Write and solve an equation to find the number of payments P you will make. Well, we know we have 400 as the deposit, and then we're going to add $75 that we received for our birthday plus $15 per week for a total of 700. If we solve this equation, and we'll go up and do this over here to the left, we have 475, I've added 475 together, plus 15p equals 700. So we'll subtract 475 from both sides. We're left with 15p equals 225. And then we'll divide both sides by 15. And if you know your squares, you know that 15 times 15 is 225. So this time it's going to take us 15 weeks to pay off the amount. So P equals 15. Let's go ahead and use our highlighters and let's highlight our essential question. It's the same as it has been for this chapter. What is equivalence? So we're talking about equations, meaning that each side of the equation is equivalent. What is equivalence? And here are our 3 content standards. No new vocabulary today. Let's go ahead and turn to page 130. At the top, it says translate sentences into equations. So we're going to go ahead and highlight that. It says there are 3 steps to writing a 2-step equation. First of all, we need to describe the situation, use only the most important words. We need to define a variable to represent the unknown quantity, and then we translate the verbal model into an algebraic equation. We already know how to write verbal sentences as 1-step equations. Some verbal sentences translate into 2-step equations. So let's take a look at number 1. Number 1 says translate each sentence into an equation. 8 less than 3 times a number is negative 23. We've already talked about the importance of these words right here. These are called turnaround words, so we know that although we normally read from left to right, this is going to change what we do with this sentence. So we know it's 8 minus 3 times a number. We're going to let a number equal x. Here they've got it in, so we'll leave it in, is negative 23. So because it's going to turn it around, we have 8 minus 3n equals negative 23. Turnaround words say that we're going to change this to 3n minus 8 equals negative 23. Let's look at number 2. 13 is 7 more than 1/5 of a number. Again, we've got some important turnaround words. And then we've got a number, which here they are calling n. When they define their variable, they say let n represent the number. So we know that this is 13 is equals 7 plus, because more than means plus, 1/5 of a number. But because we have these turnaround words, we're going to change it to 13 equals 1/5 n plus 7. Let's look down at the bottom for A, B, and C and do these problems. It says 15 equals 3 more than 6 times a number. So we're going to call a number x. I like x better than n, but you can call it whatever you would like. 15 equals 3 more than 6 times a number. So we have 15 equals 3 plus 6 times a number. But we know that more than means we have to flip it around. So for A, we're going to say 15 equals 6x plus 3. Let's take a look at B. B says 10 increased by the quotient of a number and 6 is 5. A number we know is x. Quotient we know means to divide. Increased by means to add. So we're going to have 10 increased by the quotient of a number and 6. So x divided by 6 is 5. So let's put that all together over here. And we have 10 plus x divided by 6 equals 5. Let's look at C. The difference between, difference means to subtract, between 12 and 2/3 of a number. Remember, a number is x, so we have 12 minus 2/3 x is equals 18. So if we write it over to the side, we have 12 minus 2/3 x equals 18. Let's go to page 131 and look at the word problems together. So the whole reason behind translating words to math is so that we become more able to do word problems without panic. So number 3 says you buy 3 books that each cost the same amount and a magazine, all for $55.99. You know that the magazine costs $1.99. How much does each book cost? Well, the important words are 3 books and a magazine cost $55.99. In this case, they're letting B represent the cost of 1 book. I don't like to use B because it often looks like a 6. I generally use X. So 3 books, not sure how much each costs, so 3 times B plus $1.99 equals $55.99. And then we solve it. We subtract $1.99 from both sides using the subtraction property of equality. That leaves us with 3B equals $54. We divide both sides by 3 using the division property of equality, and we get B equals 18. So the books cost $18 each. Let's look at number 4. A personal trainer buys a weight bench for $500 and W weights for $24.99 each. So we don't know how many weights we bought. We just know they were $24.99 each. The total cost of the purchase is $849.86. How many weights were purchased? Well, we know that we had a bench for $500 plus $24.99 per weight, and we know it equaled $849.86. We're letting W represent the number of weights. So 500 for the bench plus $24.99 times W equals $849.86. Let's go ahead and solve it. We've got the equation. We're going to subtract 500 from both sides using the subtraction property of equality. That leaves us with $24.99 W equals $349.86. When we divide both sides by $24.99 using the division property of equality, we get W equals 14. So 14 weights were purchased. Let's go ahead and look down at D and try this problem together. It says the current temperature is 54 degrees Fahrenheit. It is expected to rise 2.5 degrees or 2 5/10 degrees Fahrenheit each hour. In how many hours will the temperature be 84 degrees? So the first thing we need to do is let's define our variable. Let's say that X equals the number of hours. Because that's what we don't know. So we'll underline in how many hours will the temperature be 84 degrees. That's what it wants us to find out. So let's go up here and we'll write our equation. The current temperature is 54, so we know we start at 54, and we know that it is expected to rise. And if I see the word rise, that tells me I'm going to add, because rise generally means positive. I'm going to add 2.5x, 2.5 degrees. Sorry, I don't have that where you can see it. 2.5 degrees times the number of hours, and I want to know how long it's going to take to get to 84 degrees. So 54 plus 2 5/10 x equals 84. To solve it, we're going to use the subtraction property of equality and subtract 54 from both sides. That leaves us with 2 5/10 x equals 30. We're then going to divide both sides by 2 5/10. And we'll just go up here and we'll do that work so we can refresh our memories on how to divide decimals. So we have 30 divided by 2.5 or 2 5/10. Remember, the main thing we want to do is get rid of the decimal. So we're going to move that decimal point over one place. That means that the decimal point we couldn't see here is going to move over one place. And we're going to ask, how many times does 25 go into 300? Well, I know 25 goes into 30 one time, right? $30 minus 25 is 5. 25 goes into 50 twice. 2 times 25 is 50. So we know that it's 12 times. So 30 divided by 2 and 5/10 equals 12. So it's going to take 12 hours until the temperature rises from 54 to 84 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's go ahead down here at the bottom and we'll write x equals 12 hours. Okay, let's go ahead and turn to page 132. Page 132 once again shows us a problem that we'll go through. It says your and your friend's lunch cost $19. Your lunch cost $3 more than your friend's. How much was your friend's lunch? So the thing that we need to know is how much was your friend's lunch. What we don't know is how much your friend's lunch costs. So we're going to define our variable. They may define it differently. We're going to define it as x. We've got your lunch, which costs $3 more than your friend's. So x plus 3. And then we're going to add to x. And we know that it equals 19. So our equation, they've written it as f. We just used x. It's no big deal which one we use. F plus 3 equals 19. F plus f is 2f. 2f plus 3 equals 19. We'll subtract 3 from both sides, leaves us with 2f equals 16. Divide both sides by 2, and we get f equals 8. So your friend spent $8 on lunch. Take a few minutes and work the problems at the bottom of the page 132 in the guided practice. Work problems 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then over to the side where it says rate yourself, once you're finished working the problems, rate yourself. Do you understand how to write two-step equations? If so, put your X here. If you still have some questions about writing two-step equations, put your X here, and then go ahead on to ConnectEd and look at the personal tutor on this page of your book, and they will help you with some extra problems to show you how to work them. Bring this back tomorrow and we'll go through it together.